We're well into June now, and over the last few weeks we've had some beautiful sunny days. Today isn't one of them, but I really can't complain because the weather has been so lovely and warm, lots of sunshine, and the plants in both the greenhouse and the polytunnel have been very happy. So we'll go and have a look at the progress that we've made there. We'll also have a look at the raised beds and see how the vegetables are doing because they've also benefited from this beautiful weather. And there's a couple other little surprises through this video, one in particular that just kind of has been blowing my mind over the last few weeks, so we'll get to that a bit later on. First, let's get inside the greenhouse, see what's going on in there. You can see there's a lot of new growth compared to the last update video. Things have pretty much doubled in size, and we'll go through some of the plants in a little bit. Most of them are doing really well. There's a couple that are a bit smaller than I'd like. This Serrano, for example, there's a lot of good growth on it. The color is decent, but it's a little smaller than I would like at this stage. The warm weather, once that starts properly settling in and we have more consistency around that, I'm sure this will just take off nicely. But for the moment, looking a little bit small for my liking. And this one here is my Cayenne, which I think is getting a little bit of an attack from aphids, and I've been spraying some neem oil, maybe not as much as I should have, but I'm sure it'll recover as well. After I've done this video, I'll go and put a bit more neem oil on it. But we can see there are a few small fruits coming through. This one's quite fascinating. This here is my Antep Akidoma, and there's a bit of a mutation going on. We can see there's some fasciation. If you remember, a couple of years ago, I had a plant that had a bit of fasciation on it as well. And this one seems to be doing a similar thing. Quite an interesting looking pepper. So we'll see if all of them are going to be like that, but it looks quite interesting. And there's another mutation I'll be showing you a bit later on that is what's quite interesting to me. It's something I've never seen before, but we'll get to that in a bit. This plant here is my 7-pot Primo. It's a beautiful looking plant. It, again, isn't as big as I'd like, but I'm sure it will catch up as well. So let's go have a look at some of the plants that I am happy with. Over here we have the Buna Malata, some beautiful purple peppers. I posted up a couple pictures on Instagram last week to show these, and they really are beautiful. I think they ripen to a different color, but at the moment that looks really stunning. And some more plants in here. We have the Jalapeno Mammoth. There's a few coming through there. Not too big at the moment, but still nice to see some peppers coming through. Actually, I have quite a few peppers, and we have quite a few ripe ones on different plants. Let's have a look down here. We'll get to the ChilliChump Seedkit in a bit. Let's have a look at some of my Superhots. That's in this corner over here. We have 6 plants. I have other Superhots as well, but I've kept some of my favorites in this corner. And we can see some beautiful new growth. Not any peppers just yet, but definitely got some flowers. I think we might have a pepper or two starting, but I don't expect it this early in the season really. There's my 7-pot Primo. I think what's been happening with the warm weather we've been having, it's given the roots a lot of time to push out, fill the pots. And like I said in a previous video, once the roots have filled the pots, then it's going to focus all its attention, all the energy into actually growing the plant. So by the next video, these plants here, I'm sure are going to be pretty much double the size. These over here are my Piri Piri and my Cayenne. And we have the Cayenne, and then Piri Piri at the back. And we have one at the front and one over there. No peppers on the Piri Piri just yet, but we have got quite a few on the Cayenne plants. So those are doing nicely. Yeah, they really are keen to get their fruit out, but these plants will grow quite a bit bigger as well. I get asked quite a bit in my comments and messages that I get about yellowing leaves. I wouldn't worry too much about it. As long as the new growth is looking healthy, then you should be just fine. Yellowing leaves could be so many different things. Typically it's overwatering, but it's not as simple as that. Overwatering causes a nutrient deficiency It can wash away a lot of the nitrogen that you might put in the soil, and the plant is not able to get the nitrogen, which is what's causing the yellowing. So it's not as simple as just saying add more nitrogen. That'll probably hurt the plant, and that wouldn't be a good thing. So don't go and fix your plants or try and fix your plants by adding things. Rather just stop watering it as much and see how it recovers. But we can see that there's a lot of new growth, a lot of new leaves coming through over there. All the new leaves that are coming out the top are all looking healthy, so there's really nothing to worry about. That's what you need to look for, just look for new leaves. The hydroponic systems, this is doing really well. Look at these plants. So we'll get to the one at the end there, because I'm sure you can see the red peeking out. It's quite interesting. This side over here has the bigger plants, bushier plants. The one over here, this is Cayenne. And weirdly enough, no peppers on there just yet. So these were obviously planted the same time as the Cayenne on this side. And I think that's just because of the nutrient mix. At the moment, the nutrient mix that I'm using for my hydroponics is angled more towards growth, but that doesn't explain what's going on down there, because we have a ton of peppers that are coming through and a load that are ripe. Actually, some of them are a little bit overripe, but I'll be picking some of these very soon. This is my Mozambican chili, and I'll be picking some of those to give it a try on my Checking Out Chilies with ChilliChump series. Over here you can see that I'm getting attacked by some slugs, and I had that quite a bit on this plant over here. It's pretty much recovered, but we can see the slugs had a good go. I'm using these slug pellets now everywhere. Don't put it in the soil, just put it on surfaces where the slugs might go, and hopefully that'll get rid of them. But I'm not too worried about it as long as it doesn't start taking down the stem. And actually looking down here, we can see that this has some peppers on. So this here is my Bendigo, and we can see there's a pepper down the bottom there. But yeah, I'm not too worried about these leaves. The slugs hopefully will go away now that I've put this slug pellet stuff down. And I'm sure my hydroponic system also is going to start using a lot more of the liquid, of the nutrients. We've had so much of this white fluff. It's basically coming from a tree just next to our house, and it's pollen, I believe. Bit of a pain in the backside, but it's not going to affect things here. But we can see there's still quite a lot of liquid. I haven't had to top this up just yet. I may have to do so in probably a couple of weeks' time. I keep checking what the pH is doing and what the EC is doing, and everything is all good at the moment, but we might need to top those up in, like I say, about 2 weeks' time. Down this corner we have, well, some interesting plants, but I'll talk about that in a separate video. These two plants are a little bit special, and we'll talk about those soon. At the back there we have the Hanine yellow lantern, and lots of flowers, nice thick stalk. That's nice to see, so I'm happy with that. No peppers on it just yet, but again, don't expect it, because it is a Capsicum Cayennes, which does take a lot longer to get some peppers. Those are typically the Superhots. There's another Hainan yellow lantern over there. At the back there we have some beautiful peppers. That's the Violet Sparkle. Quite a lot larger than I thought they would be. That's a pretty little pepper, and I'll show you another Violet Sparkle I actually have outside. A little bit of an experiment I'm doing. This here is my outside plant. I had a spare Violet Sparkle, and I decided I was going to put it into a hanging basket so we could kind of compare the progress of one that's outside. A lot of people ask me if you need a greenhouse or a polytunnel, and this kind of proves why you do need one. Even though it's been quite warm lately, this plant is quite a bit smaller. It has much colder temperatures at night out here, of course, whereas the greenhouse and the polytunnel can maintain much better temperatures. So you see this plant is fairly small. There are a few fruit on there. So while it is possible to grow outside without a greenhouse or polytunnel in the British climate, it's not going to give you the best results. So depending on what you're looking for, I mean, this is a pretty plant, so I don't mind a bit later in the season. It, of course, will get a bit bigger, but if that's all you're interested in, is just getting a few fruit off it or just a pretty looking chili plant, then yeah, growing outside is no problem at all. But if you're looking for massive harvests, then yeah, I would definitely recommend a polytunnel or greenhouse or some sort of covering so that you can really optimize the temperatures, especially in the early season. This here is an IE lemon drop. Let's just pull that back a bit so it doesn't crowd out the other plants. Those are looking good. Let's have a look at the ChilliChump seed kit. And before we do that, let's get rid of whatever the hell that is. An errant seed got in there. It looks like some sort of squash, I guess. I've actually seen a few of them. There's another one. Weird. Unless my wife's playing a joke on me and putting squash seeds in here, or pumpkin seeds. But here we go. Let's have a look at the ChilliChump seed kit. We have our Cayenne over here, and looking good. We have a few that are coming through. Very thin one there. I hope this is a Cayenne. We'll see how they progress, but it needs to grow quite a bit bigger than that. That's not your typical size of a Cayenne. Over there at the back is our Jalapeno Mammoth. There are no chilies on that one just yet, so unlike the other one that we saw earlier. There is the IE Crystal. The plant is looking healthy. No peppers on there either. We've got quite a few flowers, and I'm sure they'll start developing peppers soon. I need to isolate a few of these actually, because I want to keep the seeds. And over here is our Ancho Poblano, and we can see we have quite a few on there. Not very big just yet. And remember, there is a competition. I'm still figuring out exactly what the prizes will be, but it's looking at the moment like it will be a seed pack. So it'll be the ChilliChump seed kit seed pack for next year. That'll be one of the prizes, and maybe something else. We'll see how it goes. And I'm still figuring out how we will actually measure for the competition. But my patrons have given me some good ideas, so I think we'll go with what they've suggested. This is my other Ancho Poblano. There's one pepper on this plant, but this plant is actually a little bit higher than this one. I would say just a couple centimeters, but this one here has definitely got quite a few more of the Ancho Poblano. So looking good. At the back there, that is a turbo pube. Big old leaves. These plants always do. Fairy leaves. If you are growing this, go and have a close look at the leaf, and you'll see all these tiny little hairs on it. It's quite pretty. And when the flowers start coming through, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think these are purple flowers. So we'll see soon enough. And then last tray over here, well, we already looked at it because we looked at this purple over here, but there's a plant we missed back here. It's the sweet Apple Kambe. And they really do look like little apples, don't they? Wow, that one there is huge. Look at that thing. That is pretty cool, actually. I like this pepper. Very cute. So that's it for the greenhouse. Let's go and have a look inside the polytunnel, see how the plants in there are doing. So these guys are doing pretty well. It's interesting to note that the plants in the center are actually not doing too badly at all. A couple are smaller than I'd like this one over here. What is this? I think that's a violet sparkle, so similar to the one inside. And it's got a pepper or two, but the plant is still quite small. Remember, the center raised bed, these plants are directly in the soil, and the ones on either side, they're in pots that are just a little bit under the soil. Here's another sweet Apple Kambe. You can see there are a few on there. It really is a pretty little plant, isn't it? And when I say little, it is fairly small still, about a hand width in height. Over here, this is my ahi lemon drop, and I'd say it's a similar sort of height to the one inside the greenhouse, but it's looking healthy. A lovely color on the leaves. Let's have a look through and see if there's anything interesting here. We have some Mozambique Piri Piri. These guys really do like fruiting early. Might be worth doing a cross between this Piri Piri and my own one. But lots of little peppers coming through there. This is a Maruga Choc Wow, that's going to be a beastly plant. It's looking so nice and compact. Once it really starts shooting up, look at the size of that stalk. That looks great. But once this starts shooting up, this is going to be a bush. Really is going to be nice. And for some reason, we have another pumpkin growing out my plant. You really want to take those things out. They can use quite a lot of the nutrients. So this here is my Antipachydelma, which it's got some big old fruit already. That's looking lovely. So we've got quite a few there. Plant needs to get bigger. It's about 1.5 hand widths in height. And there's another Antipachydelma over there. Also got some fruit on it. And a similar sort of height to this. But they're looking healthy. The color on the leaves are fantastic. If we're going to look on this side, we'll see, what is this? This is a marugula. I think these are some of my Superhots across here. And that's a marugula. No chilies on it just yet, but there are flowers, so it won't be long now before we start getting some chilies come through. And let's have a look. This here is my purple butcholokia, and this is a beautiful plant. The purple stem, purple veins on the leaves, and lovely and compact. So again, once that starts really growing, we'll see a nice bushy plant. And this here is my Cayenne. We have a ripe Cayenne already, and another Cayenne over there, another ripe one. Jalapeno and weed. There's a jalapeno, and what's that one? That's also a peri peri at the end there. So that's looking good. Over here, so this here is a peri peri. Well, it thinks it's peri peri, but those do not look like peri peri to me. I did mark it down as peri peri, so I don't know if that's one that got confused in the planting. But yeah, it says peri peri. Yeah, we'll see how those go. Those look more like Cayenne to me than peri peri. Over here is the sweet Apple Kambe. This is the one that's directly in the soil. We can see it's got some fruit, but not as ripe as the ones that are on the one over there. But the plant is a similar size, so there's not much in it at the moment. We'll see a bit later on in the season once the plants get to really show how big they can get, and we'll see the difference between planting it in the pots like that and planting it directly in the soil. This plant is looking huge. This is my pepperdew, and we've got another weed. This plant over here that is branching out is my ricotta manzano. It's really trying to take over here. That there is the marugula that's directly in the soil, and if you compare that to the one over there, that one there actually has more growth. So at this early stage, the pots seem to be winning like for like, but we'll see how that goes a little bit later on in the season. As the roots get spread out a bit more, we'll see how the growth is affected. So that there is all the plants in the polytunnel. Let's have a look at the vegetable patches. We'll do this one quickly because it is starting to rain, but we can see a ton of growth. I have started to get these to train up, so they are starting to move up on the other side as well. And I think it's just a matter of time before we get to see it going over the arch, hopefully in the next month or two maybe. The corn is doing well. Well, most of it is doing well. We had a little bit of damage being done by something. I'm guessing snails or slugs. You can see the peas are coming up, so that's nice. Some of the peas came up a bit quicker than the corn. So we can see how this corn is being kind of dominated by these peas. It's a weed, but hopefully the corn will recover. I kind of feel it won't if you compare it to some of the other corn that we have. They're doing a lot better. So really need to keep an eye on this stuff because the beans and the peas and the squashes and everything are really trying to take over here. But looking healthy for the most part. We had some damage here as well. It's looking like it's recovering, but something just chewed the end off here. I just found this laying on the side here. So I'm guessing probably a snail or slug as well. But yeah, looking good. Not too bad at all. The stuff you see here, this is just chicken manure that I spread out. So when it does rain, I don't have to feed. The rain and my watering will automatically give it a good feed because of the chicken manure on top. And my garlic is almost ready. Won't be long now before I'll be able to harvest all that and probably make some more black garlic like I did in my recent video. Over here, this is my vegetable patch that is up against the side wall. The sun gets there a lot better than it does over here. So more of the day it's sunny over there, which you can see the difference. That's the same plant as down there. So the sun really makes a massive difference. I think, again, probably will be catching up quite a bit over here once the sun is more overhead. But at the moment the sun is still fairly low down. Won't be long before it's more overhead. But we have some squashes and a pumpkin, I believe. And we also have some corn that's growing over here, and that's still doing quite well. Let's go have a look at this monster. This thing is it's just massive and beautiful. I absolutely love it. That's just massive, huge. And we have a lot of peppers. Nothing ripening up just yet, but it might be down to the intensity of the light. I'll keep an eye on it. We'll see if we get any to ripen, but yeah, definitely sunlight is making a big difference outside. But we got so many peppers in here. This is just huge. Some people made some comments the last video that I showed this plant, and they said that it's in too much of a restrictive space, and yeah, I tend to agree, but it's not really showing too much damage. I mean, obviously the preference is to have a much bigger space, but the plant's not doing too badly. There's no mold anywhere. I'm able to keep the humidity levels right. Like I said, we are getting peppers. We can see there the leaves are looking healthy. The green on these are fantastic. I don't know if the light in here is actually showing it off properly, but it's a deep, deep green. Lots of flowers, lots of peppers. And yeah, the canopy is pretty much settled here. It's not going much higher, so we can see the height. So the plant is getting quite a bit of light, not much going down to the bottom. That's something as well that I got asked in a recent comment. It was quite interesting. Do I trim back the plant so that I let more light through? But we can see it doesn't really affect things. Actually, looking down here, we have a ripe pepper down there. So I spoke too soon. But yeah, don't worry about the light getting through. The plant is a big old organism. As long as some of the leaves can get light, then you should be fine. You can see down here, this never gets light. And I don't know if I can really show that because it's dark down there, obviously. But the leaves down here are exactly the same color, the same health that the plant's leaves at the top are like as well. So don't worry too much. Obviously ideal to get as much light to every bit of the plant as possible. But it's more about the light intensity and how much light gets through that this plant can start creating the chlorophyll and actually putting the energy through to the rest of the things like the flowering and the fruiting and that sort of thing. But this plant is looking fantastic, and we'll be saving a ton of seeds from here because, like I said before, these are all fully isolated. So lots of seeds to come. So it's time for us to have a look at the little surprise I had. And honestly, it's as surprising for me as it's going to be for you guys. That is the weirdest looking chili plant that I've ever seen. That there is my cross between the peri peri and the lemon drop. And honestly, I've never seen anything like it. Those leaves are, well, when I first saw this starting to grow, I thought that I thought there was some damage, thought maybe it was getting too much light, but every leaf is growing exactly the same way. So it's some sort of mutant. I really don't know. I'm very, very fascinated to see how this is going to turn out. Especially fascinated to see what the fruits are going to be like. But check at that. Isn't that just crazy? Jagged leaves. They are a little bit furry. They've got some weird distorted sort of look to them. The plant is pretty healthy. You can see there's a lot of new growth coming on the nodes. So I'm not too worried about it. I will be putting this into a bigger hydro system very soon, and we'll get the nutrients set up properly, because right now I'm still using the Vaxa range of nutrients. So I'm going to use something a bit more bespoke, and we'll really get this to start accelerating the growth. Anyway, that's the little surprise I had for you. That's going to be a very interesting plant indeed. It's time for me to go get ready for my live stream. I'll be doing that in the next 2 hours or so, and I'll be doing it from the summer house for the first time, so fingers crossed it goes well. If you aren't aware, I do a monthly live stream the first Sunday of every month, and it's really great if you guys could join me, and for those that already do, thank you so much. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that your season is going fantastically, and until the next one, stay safe and stay spicy.